she whined, pulling the blanket up further. Tom laughed. "What time is it?" She propped herself up and downed the last of her coffee. 7:15, Tom said, holding up and pointing at the clock from the sideboard. "Oh, God, I need to get showered and dressed." Lizzie jumped off the sofa and snapped into action. "Like, now? I'm going to be late for my first day. What am I going to wear? And where's my DBS check? I swear, I left it here with my lunchbox and bag." "How have you not thought about what to wear yet?" Tom asked, incredulous and oblivious to the more serious issue of the lost DBS check. Lizzie shrugged. "I'm telling you now, Lizzie Morris, you will get nowhere as a teacher unless you get yourself a little more organised. Lesson number 1 from a teaching assistant who's seen it all. Have a shower, and I'll pick out a couple of options for you for when you've finished. Your DBS is on the side of the bath, by the way." Lizzie opened her mouth to ask why and then decided not to bother. She didn't care how it had got there, she just cared that she'd found it. She reached up and kissed Tom on the cheek as she passed him. "Love you." Stepping into the shower, Lizzie could feel herself frowning. She'd been so prepared for today. She knew where she was going and how long it would take her to get there. Her lunch was prepared and in the fridge, ready to go, and had been carefully thought out to ensure it was easy to eat in public and wouldn't stink out the staff room. She had visited W.H. Smith to get herself a new pencil case and stationery for every possible stationery requirement. Never in the history of readiness had anyone been so ready for their first day. And yet she'd not slept, worrying again, and her DBS check had somehow made its way into the bathroom. She shook her head, moving it onto the shelf before turning the shower on. Letting the water from the shower run down her hair and back, she closed her eyes and took some deep breaths. Everything would be fine, she thought. She withheld the nervous urge to throw up that was beginning to wash over her in stronger and stronger waves. When she returned to her bedroom, she saw Tom had hung 2 outfits up on her wardrobe, including accessories, which hung down from the coat hangers. On the floor, he'd laid out some shoe options for her. On top of that, he'd replenished her mug of coffee. Where had she got so lucky with a friend like Tom? Bizarrely, they'd not met until they were both at university, but it hadn't taken them long to realise that they'd both grown up in this same sleepy little market town, just at opposite ends of the high street. And now they'd met in the middle, sharing a flat above the bakery near the village green. Lizzie blow-dried her unruly hair and straightened it in front of the mirror. The June sun, having already risen for the day, reflected off her fiery red locks, emblazoning the colour even more than normal. It was going to be another scorching day. By the time she'd added a thin layer of makeup and pulled her long hair up into a ponytail, she was beginning to look half-human again, if a little bedraggled by the heat. Tom's outfit choices were perfect, as always. His leaving the rest of her wardrobe tidy was not. Lizzie stuffed a couple of pairs of shoes back into the wardrobe and slid the sleeve of a corduroy blazer and the skirt of her bright red Jessica Rabbit dress back through the crack in the door. Not that she'd wear either of those items of clothing again. One was hideously out of fashion and always had been, and the other was only appropriate for a 20-year-old, and a skinny one at that. Lizzie's phone buzzed, and she removed herself from the wardrobe to see who had texted her. It was from Kirsty. "Hey, hope today goes well. Can't wait to hear all about it at practice later. Kiss, kiss, kiss." Lizzie smiled. Her sister's jolly text messages were so unlike her real-life Eeyore demeanour. In reality, Kirsty was nearly a decade older and far more serious than Lizzie was. After their parents died, Kirsty had become something of a mother hen to her. She padded over to her dressing table and pushed around the necklaces and bracelets that clung together like spaghetti. "How are you getting on?" Tom asked, his head popping round the door. "Better, but your regular check-ins are starting to stress me out," Lizzie said, placing a long silver necklace over her head and pulling on a thin-knit, oversized cardigan.